Okay, we're live. I'm going to react to 3 short videos here on Quebec independence. My jaw's a little sore, so I might be talking a little quieter than normal, but let's take a look here. Quebec independence, I mean, there are technically 2 referendums brewing in Canada. We will see what happens in Quebec. I mean, I'm definitely way more interested, and I think Alberta has way more of a case, but let's take a look.
Among the broken ice of the St. Lawrence ice canoe teams trained for a grueling race.
This video, by the way, was released just 2 hours ago on CTV, talking about the potential of a Quebec referendum here.
Run of the Quebec Carnival in 1894. While a stone's throw away at the National Assembly, another high-stakes race is shaping up.
Un Québec indépendant.
Parti québécois leader Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon is leading in the polls for the October election, promising to hold a referendum within his first term. The now governing Coalition Avenir Québec and the Quebec Liberals will have new leaders.
The boomers are gone now, and all the new leaders are part of Generation X or even some of the older millennial cohorts. So it's...
Yeah, Legault is gone. He had, the last time I probably checked in on Quebec politics, he was super popular. So a lot happened in Quebec since I last checked. I mean, I have not been in Quebec since 2020. That was the last time I was even in the province. That's, yeah, really the only time I've been in there. I mean, a couple times, but 2020 is the only year I've ever visited Quebec.
It's a very different landscape.
But the big wild card is U.S. President Donald Trump. Analysts expect he will lean in.
We know what's happening with Alberta right now, where the U.S. administration is getting directly involved. We can expect the same to happen in Quebec.
Quebecers, he says, also dislike other politicians.
I mean, I don't know exactly what he means by that. Will that happen? Like, will there be a meeting like that? That a similar meeting that happened in Alberta with people apparently in the Trump administration with Quebec? I don't know. We will see, but I don't know.
From outside the province.
Hello, William.
Commenting.
La collaboration plutôt que la division.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech in Quebec City last month sparked criticism, denounced as too rosy a look at how the Battle of the Plains of Abraham shaped Quebec's history. Still, despite the PQ's lead.
Yeah, Christopher, I've heard something like a third for the Quebec independence strength. I don't know. We'll see. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, this will be a short stream. I'm just going to react to 3 videos back to back to back and then end the stream. I'll probably go live again later tonight. Again, my jaw's been a little tight, so we'll see how that is feeling.
Polls show support for sovereignty is low, with up to 2/3 siding with the no side.
Un Québec puissant.
Yeah, so right there, I guess still 1/3 of people that are polled favoring, I don't know exactly what the poll question was, but at least somewhat favorable to leaving. That's still significant. It's just that the Quebec reason, what do you think in the chat would be their main reason for wanting to leave? I would, again, this is not a story I've been following at all. I'm just kind of learning as I go here, but I would assume immigration probably would be part of it. They probably do not like, probably like every province at this point in Canada does not like the crazy high immigration, and then how that could potentially negatively affect the Quebec culture. And then the other one, I guess it kind of ties into this, just the potential of the erosion of the French language. But economically, I mean, come on, man. Economically, this really does not make sense for Quebec to be doing, in my opinion.
And
that's not even really, I believe that's probably just a fact in some ways. Maybe someone from Quebec could argue that point, but I mean, obviously, if you just look at equalization payments, but I don't know, maybe some Quebec separatist out there would have an economic argument for this, but I don't understand it, at least at first glance.
Have said this is the worst time in the last 50 years to hold a referendum with uncertainty in the world.
I think every province could do better decisions if they could decide for themselves what is best for them.
But as talk of a referendum.
Wow, that's sounding pretty right wing. That sounds like, I don't even know if that's right wing. Common sense right now is right wing in Canada. I agree with what she said. It's just like, I mean, maybe the answer is Canada gets split up into 13 different countries. Every province, every territory just goes its own way. And then it's like an EU, the Canadian Union.
Is best for them.
But as talk of a referendum revs up, Sovereigntist students are mobilizing. Some in a generation that never voted in a referendum say that precisely because
I'm kidding about the Canadian Union thing, by the way. That's not that would not be a good idea.
of the uncertainty, they want a say.
Canada is a big country, and it's still not able to protect us from everything that Trump is doing. So at least if we were Quebec as a country and able to make our own decisions, it would be more representative of what we want and what is best for us.
Man, I wish I could hear her expand on that. Cannot protect us from everything Trump is doing. You think if Quebec's independent, they're just immune from the president and what the president of the most powerful country in the world wants? I mean, I don't think anything would change on that front. It is just amazing, though, how Trump derangement syndrome obviously has swept to Quebec. I mean, that's not surprising to me. But again, as I said at the beginning of the video, I haven't even probably looked at Quebec politics in 5 years. And I was never that much into it. But I remember during like 2020, 2021, I looked at it a little bit. But it's been a while. This video here is PQ leader says referendum campaign is underway for a sovereign Quebec. That Parti Québécois. Last time I checked, they're leading in the polls, the Parti Québécois. And yeah.
Parti Québécois delegates spent 3 days debating more than 300 policy proposals, covering.
Well, that's interesting, Christopher. I live here in Quebec. I've not met any separatists besides myself, and I'm English. Wow, that's fascinating. The French media here is totally anti-Trump. Yeah, that is not surprising. It's crazy. I think Trump just filled the anxiety gap. It was COVID, probably before it was the climate. Maybe before that, it was like the Russia stuff. Oh, Russia is in, I think even in Canada, that kind of swept across the country. But then obviously COVID, and before that, the climate. It's just a new way to fill anxiety. Be scared about Trump. Like if Trump wasn't in, say Kamala Harris won, thank goodness she didn't, but say she did, there would be something else. These people would be freaking out about like maybe the climate, maybe I don't know what. It would be something though.
Parti Québécois delegates spent 3 days debating more than 300 policy proposals, covering topics from healthcare to immigration. But on the last day of the convention, it was the party leader's closing speech that drew the loudest reaction.
Monsieur Carney, le Québec n'existe pas grâce au Canada.
N'existe pas.
En fait, le Québec a survécu dans sa différence et dans sa spécificité malgré le Canada.
Malgré, like, what does malgré mean again? Despite, maybe?
St. Pierre Plamondon told the party's members recent comments by Prime Minister Mark Carney has triggered the referendum campaign. On Carney's visit to Quebec City on Thursday.
What? Is that what she said there accurate? Carney's comments? Is that like I don't think the Quebec referendum, just as a onlooker to it, it doesn't seem to have that much rationale for happening. I mean, I don't know, man. Let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments after this is posted to YouTube. But they're that fired up, apparently, according to the narrator here on the news, that about a comment. That's not a reason to have a referendum because of a few comments from a prime minister.
Carney has triggered the referendum campaign. On Carney's visit to Quebec, and comments by Paul St. Pierre Plamondon told the party's members recent comments by Prime Minister Mark Carney has triggered the referendum campaign. On Carney's visit to Quebec City on Thursday, he referenced the Plains of Abraham as the beginning of a partnership between the French and English and called for Canadian unity in the face of external threats. But in the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, French troops were defeated by the British, marking it as a symbol of conquest, not cooperation. The Sovereigntist Party accused Carney of rewriting history.
Why on earth would you go to a place that symbolizes violence?
So they're not happy about those comments. I mean, maybe the person speaking didn't word that perfectly, or maybe I'm misunderstanding, but maybe that's part of it. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy.
Colonial domination and consistent.
By the way, I would be fine with Quebec leaving. Do like whatever. I hope this thing works. That'd be great.
problems throughout the history of Quebec and Canada for Francophones. Why would you go there and invent lies?
St. Pierre Plamondon also accused Carney of being part of what he called a long tradition of colonialism.
Canada is constructed on lies. And those lies, unfortunately, they have an impact in Quebec, and they don't give us a very prosperous future if we stay within those lies. That's why.
The PQ is polling near the top for voter intention.
So that, are they upset about colonialism? Is that their main issue? I don't quite get it, but maybe I'll continue to follow this story. I definitely will if it continues to gain momentum.
Support for independence lags behind. Still, his message on the last day of the convention struck a chord with party members as the leader's speech drew repeated standing ovations.
But pretty much everyone I met when I was in Quebec was really nice, but man, if they left, like, I think that'd be fine. Then they could have their own culture more so. I know that is definitely, you could feel that in Quebec. Quebec loved Quebec more than any other province I've ever visited. Quebec was for Quebec. It's actually in a huge way inspiring. I think every province should have that feeling. The one thing though, I did see, I was there during Canada Day, and it didn't, like, Quebec didn't want to celebrate Canada Day. I heard that from other people when I was there. That was surprising to me. I hadn't heard that before growing up in Saskatchewan. Like, I hadn't heard that sentiment before anyway.
If elected, the PQ says it will hold a referendum by 2030.
By the way, just so you're aware, because I talk about Alberta, I've mentioned this a bunch of times on my channel. I grew up in Saskatchewan. I played hockey in Alberta for 2 years. I just lived in Alberta for like 3.5 years, and I just moved back to Saskatchewan. I mean, not that you probably care. I mean, I don't even care to say that, but sometimes I talked about that more on my live stream when I first started this channel, but lately I've had a few videos on Alberta that have done pretty well. Not even that good, actually, to be honest, but they've done okay relative to some other ones. I have another YouTube channel where I actually get like maybe real views, you could say.
Provincial elections are in October. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Anyway, I just kind of went on a rant there that wasn't really even about Quebec. Just a selfish YouTuber right now. Okay, I got one more video I want to react to, and then I'm going to stop the stream because I actually intended this just to be, I just want to do a short video. I'll probably go live later tonight again, but I just want to do a quick one and then probably change the topic because I don't know how much more meat on the bone there is in this topic for now. I haven't heard like that much buzz about it, but this video here, Legault's resignation proof Quebec needs a referendum, says Parti Québécois leader. I just want to get CBC, at least one take from CBC on this subject. Let's take a look.
The Parti québécois leader spoke for the first time since François Legault stepped down. Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon said he needed time to reflect and that the resignation of Premier François Legault marks the end of a political era.
Yeah, James, I definitely think Alberta has a way more legitimate case here. And from what I've seen so far, it looks like real momentum. I don't know exactly what the story is in Quebec, but I don't quite understand. And from Alberta's perspective, I certainly understand. There's so many reasons. Everyone got their shots there. I didn't. Beg my friends not to fall for it. Whole cities look like war-torn ghost towns during the COVID, yeah. Actually, Americans like George Washington defeated them. Ha, just said that. The Quebecois are the only real Canadians. The rest are either third worlders or crypto Americans. There's crypto Americans in Quebec. Is that true? Quebecois. Crypto Americans. The Quebecois are a very proud people. Their big day is St. John Baptiste Day. They do celebrate Canada Day, but it is not a big thing here. Where did they get the Jake? Albertans are funny. Canada is in the midst. Oh, I think this is a. So what do you? I think this is a troll, right? Albertans are funny. Canada is in the midst of going to war with you, dude. Yeah, I think I remember this guy from before. Just a troll, whatever, you can troll. But war, like, what are you talking about, bro? You listen to Laura Babcock, that the militia, the curling, the senior curling team. Good day there, subs. Greetings from the woods of British Columbia. Hello, Canadian Spider-Man. Hello. Thank you for subscribing.
He did praise Premier Legault for his public service and how he managed the COVID-19 pandemic, but also says the third way proposed by the CEQ didn't work out. He says the CEQ failed in its goal of moving Quebecers away from the federalist sovereignist duality.
I think it's undeniable that we just witnessed the end of an era in Quebec. That era is not only about François Legault, even though François Legault is the larger part of the CEQ, it's about a political philosophy.
The PQ has been...
Yeah, we've seen the tweets and the posts. We know what you're referring to. It's all over Canadian news 24/7. We know.
Leading in opinion polls for almost 2 years now, and Saint-Pierre Plamondon said he will hold a referendum on Quebec's independence. He draws the same conclusions even if the CEQ and the Liberals manage to have credible leaders before the next election.
Are we going to draw conclusions based on reality? Or are we going to keep on telling ourselves stories that we know are not true because we just tested it?
But Legault's departure isn't the best scenario for Saint-Pierre Plamondon, according to this political science professor.
For the best scenario for Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon would have been that François Legault would have stayed as leader of the CEQ. They knew that Legault was ineffective, but now they will have to adapt to a new opponent. This also, so I think for the PQ is not necessarily good news that François Legault is leaving.
Saint-Pierre Plamondon is now the most experienced leader at the National Assembly, but it's hard to say for now if
this video is not exactly what I thought it'd be. I'm going to finish this video off with this. I asked ChatGPT, why do some Quebecois, I don't even know if that's the plural, whatever, want to leave Canada in 2026. We'll take a look at this, and then that'll be it for this video. And again, I probably will go live later tonight on a different topic, but some people in Quebec want the province to leave Canada, or at least consider that idea for a mix of historical, cultural, political, and economic reasons. I don't understand the economic rationale, but okay. The issue isn't dominant in 26. Most people still oppose, but the debate continues and resurfaces in politics. Here's a clear explanation of why some Quebecois want to leave Canada now or in the near future. History of nationalism and desire for cultural self-determination. This would be, that's what I said. That's probably, to me, seems like the main reason. They love the Quebec culture. Again, when you're in Quebec, you can feel that. And I actually think that's a very positive thing. It's a lot of Canada does not have that anymore. It's like the diversity, multiculturalism stuff. Quebec still definitely has that. I'm not even going to read all this. For many sovereigntists, separation isn't just politics. It's about protecting and promoting a unique Francophone identity in North America. Jim Gaffigan has a funny comedy bit about the Francophones and the Anglophones. Francophone. Perceptions of federal limitations on autonomy. Supporters believe that Quebec could make its own laws and policies. It could protect and promote French more strongly. I could see that, I guess. It could negotiate its own economic agreements and keep more revenue. Because when you're in Montreal, I would personally say when I was in Montreal, it was more English than French, at least in the downtown area. It's probably 60-40. In my experience, like even just people that I think could speak French, a lot of them, they would talk to each other in English. I don't think the hardcore Quebec nationalists would like that. But yeah, that was my experience. Like I would say if I had to pick what was more prevalent downtown Montreal, I would pick English more than French. Obviously, you heard lots of French too, but there was definitely lots of English. Political momentum and leadership. In 26, the Parti Québécois leads polls, blah, blah, blah. Generational and demographic trends. Polls show something of a generational shift. Support for sovereignty is higher among younger Quebecers than it has been in years. That kind of sounds similar to the mood of the country. Older generations historically had different priorities. Concerns about cultural survival, economic arguments. Better direct its own economic policy, retain revenue, but Quebec gets a bunch of revenue from Ottawa. This part doesn't really that part certainly doesn't make sense to me. Promote local industries, because then Quebec could not claim the have-not thing. and then get equalization payments. That's so crazy. But anyway, in summary, okay, I'll finish the stream here, but thank you very much for watching. I'll just go through some of these chats real quick here, just a few of them. How do my state, so did my, well, you said that they do. You said that, oh, Canada's going to go to war with America. That's literally, I mean, if you actually think that, then that's shitty, because that would be crazy. USA would wipe out Canada in 2 seconds, bro. Spent 27 years next to Quebec, growing up in NB. They never wanted to be part of Canada. They went to France in 95. Yeah, they did. I've covered that. That's crazy. Or at least someone went to France. Even America, too. Like the Quebec separatists in 95 were talking to Americans. The East is a completely different culture. It totally is. Ontario, Quebec feel totally different than the prairies. It feels truly like a different country. It's insane. Like many parts of America feel way more culturally similar to the prairies, in my opinion. This makes Alberta ignorant to what is going on. What are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. I was at a pub in Australia. The Quebecois refused to sing along. Oh, dang, really? In 2001. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've literally heard this. Like, I have a friend that lives in Quebec, or at least lived. And yeah, he said that a lot of people in Quebec do not like Canada Day. They think it's, they like put their nose up at that. Yeah, okay, sounds good. The Conservatives had a convention in Alberta that's going to separate at a convention. The Liberals are going to have it. Yeah, are you talking about like the Big Four event? Because are you talking about the Conservative convention in Calgary? Because I was like for federal politics, but I don't know exactly what you mean. Maybe you're talking about the Big Four event or something. You may well do it in Quebec. Alberta's going to be independent. Alberta's being silly. It is incredible to me how many Canadians are focused on Trump while ignoring the destruction. Exactly. I totally agree with that, Spider-Man. Yeah, it is incredible. I've kind of grown to just be numb to it. It's just the way it is. Like, I think a lot of it works. The Liberal Party just keeps everyone hysterical, and then they keep winning elections. But anyway, I'll finish the video. Thanks everyone for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.